Up next on the depressing Nintendo podcast, what do we got, Matt?
Murdered puppies.
Oh, no way, I'm not in.
Hello and welcome to the Just Another Castle podcast. I'm your host, Matt, and with me this week are Eli.
Hello.
Mike.
Savage.
Okay, and Unoclay. And apparently we're all making noises, or at least half of us. So I guess we'll start with what we've been playing this week, and I finally got to check out a game called The Fall, which Unoclay has told me about, I forget how long ago, like months and months ago. And I finally decided to play it because I remembered I actually had it last week on the podcast, and I didn't have much else to play. It's an interesting game. I'm not going to say I hate it, or I don't hate it or anything, and I'm not super in love with it, but I think it's an interesting game for sure. It's definitely mysterious. So your character crash lands on a planet and sustains damage, but rather than playing as a human, you play as an artificial intelligence. So the AI of the suit actually takes control takes control for the human when it realizes the human inside is either incapacitated or passed out or for some other reason can't move. Think if Tony Stark was knocked out and the Iron Man suit kind of flies him to a hospital kind of thing. And then the AI has to find a medical center to, help the person inside. Okay, the Skype thing at the top right corner was cycling through all everyone's icons, and I thought I was missing something.
Note to self.
Yeah, we're like, man, this game stinks. Haha, what a fool. No, keep going.
So anyway, it's kind of like Event Horizon or Dead Space, where there's something up, but you're not quite sure, and the further you go, the more questions you ask, and eventually you get a couple answers. There's not much I'd like to say because it would kind of give away some of the stuff, but it acts as a point-and-click adventure game, but instead of pointing and clicking, you just move your character with the analog stick, and then you move up to an object and interact with it. That kind of thing. I think the controls are kind of messed up. I almost had to look up a walkthrough before, just at the beginning, because I didn't realize what the buttons did, because you have to hold R and then press A or something else just to be able to interact. So it wasn't something that you could just press all the buttons and figure out. It's hold this button and press another button. I don't know. It was just kind of messed up. But I don't know. I thought it was pretty cool. It has some pretty good voice acting, I thought.
Yeah.
Even for...
I love that part too.
Yeah, you would think as far as computer speak goes, it would be really flatlined and have no emotion to it, but there was definitely some subtlety to it, of emotion and whatnot, so it's not flat or anything. It was really good.
I don't remember having trouble with controls, but it was I played it more than a year ago. I was wondering, specifically, did you have to cheat to get through any puzzles? Because I thought that it was relatively difficult, but in the best way possible, because they were solvable, but you really had to hit your head against them a little bit.
I think one or two of them I did, because one of the puzzles just did not make sense. Once you find out the answer, you're I never would have went through that sort of thought process to get to that end kind of thing, and I think the other one I just couldn't figure it out. The puzzles were pretty good. Some of the things, I kind of wish there were more ways to interact or to solve a puzzle, because a lot of point-and-click adventure games... Actually, I can't even say that for sure because I haven't played that many. But some puzzle games actually give you multiple ways to complete something, and this was just if you don't do it this one way, it's wrong. One of them was contextual, at the beginning. This isn't really spoiling anything. You pick up a gun, and my thought was, shoot the security camera to get rid of... use the gun to get rid of the security camera by shooting it. But you can't do that. And for that reason, there is a specific reason for that, because it triggers another event that links to the story, which is interesting. But some of the other ones I thought could have been, I don't know, had more ways to solve it.
Yeah, that's fair. It's a small indie game, and it certainly doesn't go out of its way to have multiple paths to the ending. You sort of have to play the game on its own terms, and like you said, that's a fair criticism. I think it's brutally difficult in some of the puzzles because I definitely admit I cheated on the very first puzzle, and Matt, you'll know what I'm talking about. But it was kind of an environment puzzle, and I just could not solve it. And once I saw how clever the game expected you to be, then I kind of got my head around it, and for the rest of the game was able to solve it without cheating. But it definitely was, I think, in the harder realm of puzzling. Like since, like you said, you can't really do it any other way but the game's way. You have to do it that way to advance the story. So
Yeah. So I can see here. It takes about like 3 to 5 hours to finish, depending on how good you are at the puzzles. I'm guesstimating that because I started at one point and then finished it a couple hours later, and I don't remember how long it was exactly. But if you wanted, you could do it in one sitting, which I think is probably the best way to do it because it's a short game. And personally, with movies, I don't like watching it halfway through and skipping it and then coming back hours later. It's short enough that I want to finish it in one go, so I don't miss anything. So I think that's the best way to tackle this game. But I think if you're into weird mysteries, and I don't even know what you call them, just like weird horror kind of mystery things like Dead Space and Event Horizon, I really get you to ask questions about it. I think you should kind of dive into it. But yeah, I don't really know what to say about it without saying too much. It's the less you know, the better, I'd say. Yeah, I think I was going to say something else, but if you have any other questions, okay.
no, I think you covered it. It's a good game. I recommend it if you like adventure slash atmospheric games. And like you said, it's short, and a lot of us got it for free in the Nindy bundle.
Yeah.
And if you didn't get it that way, it's probably pretty cheap by now for Wii U or for some other medium because I think it's out there on several other platforms.
Yeah.
So the fall.
Yeah. And I didn't even realize, but the developers did announce a sequel. I don't think it's really necessary from what I played. I thought, aside from a few arcs that could have had a little bit more explaining while still keeping the mystery, it could have been a standalone kind of thing. Oh, Unoclay's saying 2 more episodes. I don't know. I felt it could have been one contained thing, and the way it ended, I don't know. I don't really see where it can go. I mean, it leads on to where it can go, but I don't know. I thought it was like it could have been a good self-contained thing.
Oh, it sure could have been. I personally am kind of excited because I liked it enough. But yeah, you could, if people are out there and they don't want to dive into a possibly tripart series game, you don't really need to. You could make your decision based on this, and it is somewhat self-contained, but it also leaves some threads open for obvious sequel territory. So, and originally the developer on Twitter I know he had said it was definitely 100% coming to Wii U in a direct response to a question I lodged that I was like, please say it's coming to Wii U since it's where I play most of my games. And he said, definitely. I would wonder if that's true now because I have no idea what the timeline is for the next episode, but supposedly, yeah, there are more episodes coming. So
yeah, I guess it all depends on how they tackle it. Because if they give it the same sort of mysterious air they did with this one in a good way, like that could still be interesting.
right.
So why don't we move on to Eli? What have you been playing?
So I guess I've been playing some Tales to the Borderlands, which is a Telltale game. I've been playing that on PS4. Cool. It's pretty good. It's probably one of the better Telltale series. Well, don't want to say it's better because it's a little different from what they usually do, but it's good. It's a well-written dialogue. It's a good game overall. And then the other thing I've been playing is Pokemon Super Mystery Dungeon, which I beat last night. And that game is really good. I think I talked about a little bit about it last week because I had only been a few hours in. But that game is really good. Aside from the fact that, the dungeon exploring is really fun. And just the mechanics work well. It's actually challenging, which is something that the last entry lacked. Like, you will die. You'll have to restart parts, and when you die, you lose all your items and money for that you've collected for that dungeon or brought in. And I really appreciate that they didn't just make it a kids game. Even though the characters are more or less for kids, the story was also remarkably dark. Like surprisingly so. Like, the story was really well done too. Like, probably the best. I don't want to make any absolute statements here, but one of the best, if not the best, story in a Pokemon game, which isn't saying much, but the story is really good, and it's full of like plot twists and like sad parts, and it's actually like really depressing.
That's weird.
I recommend the game, especially if you were disappointed by the last one, which is Gates to Infinity, but you're a fan of the series, or even if you haven't played any so far. I really encourage you to play the game.
So with this series, it starts off with you're some person or you're some conscience, and you're transformed into a Pokemon, or was that just the one entry? Okay.
No, I mean, they all kind of start like that. You're a human that's transformed into Pokemon. You're trying to figure out what happened to you.
I thought only you could turn into ghost Pokemon as far as the Pokedex entries go.
No, well, this is like, I guess, separate from the normal Pokemon universe.
Yeah.
And I mean, you meet up with your partner, and my gosh, the localization is really well done. Like, I don't even know why Nintendo didn't promote this game, didn't send us early review copies or anything. They literally sent us codes the day after the release of the game. I guess they thought the game was terrible, and it's really not, and I'm looking through reviews, Destructoid give it a 9. So it's not like it's a bad game. I don't know why they didn't promote it more. They should have sent us that early instead of frickin' Amiibo festivals.
Well, they gotta sell those Amiibo somehow.
I mean, that's the thing. Like, everyone just craps on the game because they expect it to not be good. But Mystery Dungeon, the new one, Super Mystery Dungeon, it's huge. It's like there's 120 dungeons. Every single Pokemon is there, and it's recruitable. Like, it is a massive game too. It's not just the main story took about 25 hours to beat. The epilogue is another few hours, and after that, the post game content is just ridiculous. Like, the amount of content that's there if you want to go and get into it. I really strongly recommend it to those that are fans of the genre, just haven't tried it before.
Cool. So I wanted to ask about Tales of the Borderlands. How have you played the other Borderlands games?
Well, I've played one, and I played half the second one,
Okay.
so I've probably.
How does this fit in that universe? Well, I mean, it doesn't have to fit in that universe, but I mean, how does the universe of Borderlands fit with like a point-and-click adventure game? Because it always seemed weird. Like, Borderlands is about action and shooting and whatnot, and then it's like, here, we're gonna have this story, which Borderlands never really had. It was more so just a big giant thing of jokes.
It surprisingly works really well. Most of it is dialogue driven. There's very little action in terms of stuff you're actually doing. There's not a ton of interaction and stuff other than dialogue choices. But I mean, the dialogue is written just really well. Just some ridiculous stuff is in the game that's really funny. And for that, I really commend it. There are, of course, dialogue choices that you make and decisions that you make. It's not as deep as some of these other games, but I feel like for a game that's supposed to be fun, this is a fun game. You'll play it and you'll like the dialogue, you'll enjoy it. I don't think I'd like to play through it a second time. I don't think that would be entertaining, but, I got it sent to me for free, so I'm spoiled, but I think it's even worth, I think it's worth the $25 or whatever they ask for.
Okay, cool.
Aside from that, I don't know. Did any of you guys get any games on Black Friday? Because I bought.
Yeah, so
literally
you bought a bunch. Bought like 5 or 6.
I bought a bunch. Well, altogether, I think I bought 7.
Oh my gosh.
I bought 7 games, AAA games, and I got a few small games. Like, I got Her Story for $2 or $3 or whatever for Steam because I heard that's good. But I came out at probably around $20 a game. Like, I got Metal Gear Solid 5 was the most expensive game I bought, and I paid $28 for it. So,
you Americans and your actual deals.
Well, yeah, I got Mad Max for $20. I got Diablo 3 for $16. Got Bloodborne for $20. Borderlands, the Handsome Collection for $20. So I don't know when this podcast is going to end up going up, but Cyber Monday is Monday, and I definitely keep your lookout. Because there's some really good sales. I got Until Dawn for $16. That's the game that just came out. So, yeah.
Did anyone else buy any games?
I did, but I can wait for my turn to do what I played. So I definitely bought more than typical myself. How about you, Mike?
Yeah, see, I kind of botched it. I bought more like electronics. Like I got a webcam that was like 90 for like 30. So I was like, oh, okay, finally an HD webcam.
It's a good
Yeah,
deal.
yeah, and then I was telling you guys before I flaked out on Splatoon for 35, but I couldn't really find like too many deals on the games I wanted because Amazon
I
said
saw
they were having a flash sale for Woolly World and Mario Tennis Ultra Smash, and so I go to click it, and it was like $3 off. I'm like, oh man, it must have not refreshed. Let me hit that refresh thing. And it was like $3.03 when I refreshed. I was like, all right, yeah, somebody's giving me some false information right now because this is not a flash sale at all. All right, this is a bullshit sale. I was like $3, man. Like, come on, man. But yeah, I flaked out on that. I'm hoping something else like comes a little bit closer to December because I wasn't really looking for any PS4, Xbox One kind of games, which I wish because they had way better sales. And like, I didn't want to buy any of the bundle systems because like I'm still not rushing towards it. So maybe there'll be a Ratchet and Clank kind of bundle since that's coming out soon.
Yeah.
So
Where'd you get Until Dawn, Eli? That's that's
Best
a pretty good. Best Buy?
Best Buy. I got it. Well, it's originally $20. It's already back up to 45 or whatever, but it's $20. But I've got the Gamers Club unlocked or whatever, so it took 20% off for me. Which, by the way, let me plug again. If you're a gamer in the United States, I don't know if Canada has this. Get Gamers Club unlocked. It gives you 20% off all games you buy new at Best Buy. So literally after 2.5 games, I think. After pretty much 2.5 games over 2 years, because it's $15 a year. So if you buy a game and a half per year, you'll be set. And I really recommend then going there and getting that because I've saved hundreds of dollars using Gamers Club Unlocked.
ours is just some garbage points based system where if you spend like $400, you get $5 back or something horrible. I think there's something like where you pre-order games and you get like more points than normally because you get ×2 and some other crap, and I like somehow saved a little bit of money from that. But the only actual deal in Canada from Best Buy is during E3. So basically, like any 3 games or more, you'll get like $30 off or $20 off or something like that. So that's how I bought like a bunch of games like the last year and a half ago because I pre-ordered like 10 of them and I got them for like $40 instead of $60, and now they're $80, so they're even worse. But
Yeah.
Anyway, cool. Mike, what have you been playing?
Still my crappy JRPGs of
So Final Fantasy 13?
No, I didn't say torturous or scum of the earth games. So I've been playing Disgaea D2. So I'm pretty close to that reincarnation, like max level, so I can kind of finally beat the last boss to get that platinum. And then freaking One Piece still bothers the shit out of me because I'm like, I finished this game, but it's like stupid random drops, and I hate random drops. So it's like I don't know what to do. So I kind of go back to it occasionally. It's like whatever. And then Sword Art Online for Vita is like still the worst game for my Vita, and I kind of want to be done with it, like because I want to play. I want to play Danganronpa Despair Girls, the third one that's out for the Vita. But like I kind of be going like this, one game a system kind of thing. So maybe that's gonna backfire. I'm just gonna probably buy these Vita games like pretty soon so I can just run through them. Because mobile games they don't take that much skill. I mean handheld games, whatever they're called these days. Then I've been playing some Super Mario Land 2. The 6 coins with Wario. Then I also been playing that Super Mario Maker Life. So that's all good. Then Smash, I made like 90 on like Wednesday. Went to like some tournament upstate. And I was like, "Oh, you guys is free," so I easily beat them. Took some cash home, and then you know what it is.
So I thought you didn't care too much for Danganronpa. Like I thought you liked it, but you weren't all that interested in it.
Yeah, I like it. I mean, the thing is, like I think it's overrated. Like, I don't think
Okay.
it's that good. Like, I enjoy like the story for what it is and the gameplay, but it's like I hate it when people like try to compare it to Phoenix Wright, and I'm like, no, man. Like, Phoenix Wright outclasses this in gameplay and story. Like, this
Yeah.
game, like, it's entertaining. Like, I don't care actually more for 999. Like, I thought the first game was fantastic, but I'm not gonna buy the second one. I don't care enough. You know what I mean? Like, I was like, all right, this game ended on a good note. Like, it's like Ghost Trick. I wouldn't buy a sequel for that game. Like, I enjoyed my time, but
Yeah.
it's whatever.
Cool.
Nice. Who can I ask you some questions? Did you say you're playing Mario Maker a little bit?
Yeah. I've been finally did those stupid course events. So I was like, oh, that's cool. And then
So you're not
I was like,
building.
so that's how you get all that dumb shit,
You're not
But
building. You're mainly playing.
yeah. So like, I mean, I enjoy it. I don't really like create a level, so. It was like my friend was creating a level. I watched him. I went to his house, and I was like, you know what? I gotta get back into Mario Maker. And I was playing some dumb hard levels, and I was like, why do I keep dying? Damn, this is so fun. Like, I keep dying. Like, like occasionally I get to one of those levels where it's like, haha, which door to go in? Oh, this door is automatic death. Well, f you, kid. All right, but it's
I
like
want to
I'm
see
like,
I want to see what comes out of
what,
your mind. You got to make a level and promote it on this podcast, dude. I want to see what comes out of your brain because you're a unique fellow. You could probably come up with some weird stuff. So I'm throwing out a challenge. I want to see something come out of you eventually. Not in that
all
way.
right. You know,
A
I'll
level.
do it for you. I'll try to make a level. Like, it'll take me probably like a week because I'm like terrible at these making a level thing. So I'm like, I like playing, but I just don't have that creative mind. My Phil's making a really good level, and it requires actually a lot of wall jump, drop shells, repick them up during your wall jump, which is for like I find those like really fun in like New Super Mario Brothers because when you're supposed to get the wall jump with the shell, like if you hold down right before, if you're like holding down and right, you could drop the shell, and you'll be in the wall jump animation, and you can catch it, and you keep doing it when you wall jump.
Oh
So
my
he kind of
gosh.
made that like he kind of made that twice. Like it's not that hard because Bill doesn't like to make quote troll levels, so he's like he doesn't want to get the expert mode. Which I'm like, no, man, you gotta like leave spikes right where they do, otherwise they have to land it perfectly. And he's like, no, that's stupid. I'm like, no, that's the better way to do it. So I think his levels are gonna be better. Mine, if you see mine, it's gonna be like, oh man, not a frame perfect jump. Well, you died. Right.
All right.
But I got you guys. I'll try to make it, and I'll promote the poop out of it for you guys. I'll call it the just another castle level, and it won't even be in a castle setting. It'll be in the level kind of thing I like. Right?
Perfect.
Nice.
Well done. Well, that's awesome.
You guys asked for it. You guys aren't talking about the important thing this week with how Donkey Kong Country 2 turned like 20, and the rare Twitter was kind of releasing out some stuff about like Donkey Kong Country 2, and it was kind of making me laugh because they were showing the names for Dixie Kong. And hold on, let me see if I can pull it up. 'Cause I was like, wow, this game is fantastic, and like probably the best game on the Super Nintendo. But here's some Diddy Kong. I mean, Diddy's girlfriend's name, Dixie Kong. So they had Didlet, Diddy Ann, alright?
Diddle.
Baby.
Dimmy, Dalai Lama Kong, Delilah Kong, Dado Rails, and then the guy goes, damn, these are some crap names underneath it. There's Deano, Doolip, Docs, Dessert Kong, Dottie Kong. They're terrible.
Oh my gosh.
I don't know how they got
horrible.
it. Yeah, I'll put it in the chat, or I'll tell you guys the link.
Breaking news from Mike. There you have it, Pete.
All right, so if you need to waste 5 minutes, you go on Rare's Twitter and you look at what they all the stuff they released for Donkey Kong Country 2, all that what do they call that when the game's not released? Concept stuff. That's
Yeah,
it.
concept.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh,
So they have all that on.
Neat stuff. All
Alright,
right.
so Unoclay, what have you been playing this week?
I'll take a swing at it. Yeah, responding to Eli's question. Yeah, I'm not someone who typically dives in the past anyway into this whole Black Friday nonsense. I certainly don't go to the stores. I don't like being trampled, so I don't go. I kind of hate crowds of people that are trying to buy crap, so I'm not into that. But I did get online and get some of the specials. Partly just because I had a trip with my family. who I love dearly, but thankfully don't listen to this podcast, is I'm just going to say, holy shit, riding in the parents when you're an adult for like 10 hours each way to your brother's house is a little bit fun. I'm being nice. Sometimes it gets a little stressful, so I was super psyched to have 3DS and a really good book to keep me distracted through the 10 straight hours one way travel. But yeah. Speaking of the book, no one, I didn't even know about it. I didn't know that George Martin had released kind of a prequel book to Game of Sequels.
I'm sure they'll make plenty of sequels, but
the sequels to Game of Sequels. Can you believe it? Yeah, Game of Thrones. It's called The Night of the Seven Kingdoms, and I hadn't even heard about it, and my wife told me about it. It's really awesome if you're into Game of Thrones books. It's like set 100 years before the beginning of the story, and it's just the greatest. I read the entire 300 something page in like a day. I liked it so much, but I ate that book. But back to games, I did download 4 different things, 2 of which I haven't played. I just downloaded tonight on the Wii U. Heads up for everyone who doesn't know, the Wii U sale goes through December 2nd, I believe. A lot of games discounted on there for download. I got Chariot on there, which I've played at a friend's house before and is a really fun co-op game. And it's only $7.50 US right now. So you can grab that for a very affordable price. And it's really good, kind of fun game to hang out with a friend. The one thing I would say is for that game, it's good for a friend who knows how to play video games, not for someone who's a total idiot, because you really have to work together to finish levels. It's it's like a situation where you have to use a tether rope to pull the chariot up and down mountains and through caves and stuff like that. And you've got to be able to have someone who knows what they're doing, knows how to press buttons and isn't going to screw you up. But it's a really fun co-op game. I grabbed Teslagrad, which I've heard good things about but haven't played.
I've played a bit of that.
Is it good?
So it's weird. I played the demo and I really enjoyed it for the mechanics it brought in, and then I played the full game, and I think I beat like the second, maybe the third boss or something, but I kind of like lost interest in it. For the Adrian like freelance thing, one of the things was like write a list of games and write which one you thought was the better one or the worst one of it, and I put it as the worst for a number of reasons, but basically because it doesn't have a soundtrack and it just makes everything seem that much longer and boring.
Oh wow, interesting.
Like, I don't mind if something has like an atmospheric background to it, but it just sounds like so dead, like there's not much there, that it's just like if you're walking and like mute Ocarina of Time, like rolling around takes kind of a long time, but if you hear Hyrule Field music, it's like, oh, this is awesome. You don't really think about it, but take out the just mute it, and it becomes that much more like
I'll have to
annoying.
think about that.
So
I'll have to think about that when I'm playing it.
Try it because there's some cool mechanics to it, like puzzle mechanics to fight and do something. So you might be more willing to accept some of those flaws
for $7.50. You sure as hell I'm gonna try it.
Definitely try it, obviously.
Yeah, I'm gonna. I look forward to it. It looked like cool mechanics, but I grabbed that. I didn't play those, but the good ones I did grab that I played. Oh, I wanted to say thank you to Eli. About a year ago or more, maybe now, you awarded me for one of the contests on here a download code for Oracle of Seasons. I still haven't quite finished it yet because I feel like game is a little unfairly difficult. Like some of the puzzles, I actually have to cheat and look up, like, where do I go next? I just get stuck. But I was playing that a little bit. Not breaking news to be playing a game that's...
Really, man, I loved Oracle of Seasons. I think...
Yeah, Seasons is amazing.
Yeah, I like it. Don't get me wrong. I just feel like I get lost and don't know where I'm supposed to go next a lot of times. And the game isn't, like, super good at cueing you if, like, say you take a break and don't play it for a few weeks and you're like...
Oh,
where
definitely. You know? Like, I think... Eli, you go.
I was gonna say, well, I think that's like with a lot of Zelda games. You just come in, like, I remember I played through like the first probably 6 to 8 hours of Twilight Princess, and I came back and I was so lost. I don't think that's necessarily its fault.
Right.
I think that's just Zelda.
Right. Yeah. So I was playing that. I'm enjoying it. Mike, what were you gonna say?
Yeah, I was gonna say like Seasons. Like I had Ages as a kid, and I really didn't like Ages. Like both of those games are pretty hard to like leave and then come back to. I felt like all three of the Game Boy Zeldas were like pretty hard like that. But even Link's Awakening, like if I didn't play it for like a week, I was like, all right, time to delete my file and figure out what to do
Right.
again. Because like it was only one text a word would be the hint you need to get. But Season focuses more actually on dungeon and combat versus like Oracle of Ages. But I was gonna say was totally like try to finish it. It's actually a really quick game if you like just buckle down and actually only play that one. Like it wasn't really meant to be too long, but I think like they actually somehow Capcom made the fighting gameplay in that 2D Zelda. They actually perfected it in that game versus like Ages where you have to explore and it takes so much more time. So I was like, if you figure out where you are, kind of just like try to bang it out real quick. That's what I would do.
I used the Zelda wiki to figure out where I was eventually, and I am moving in it again. So anyway, I was playing that, nothing new there, but it's a cool game, like you guys are saying. And then the new stuff I got that I would recommend. I downloaded the new Shantae game, the Genie, Shantae. Downloaded that, the 3DS one that came out a little while ago. It's pretty good. If you never played a Shantae game before, it's a platformer. It's very cartoonish. It's got animated 3D feminine cartoon anime style characters, if you get what I'm getting at. So they're not, it's got, that kind of cuteness to it. That's got that going for it. It's got some good platforming. It's got, neat weapons. It's your pretty standard cartoon platformer. But they're all really solid games. My only thought on Shantae so far, only being about an hour or two into it, is that it's really similar to the last one, the DS one that came out. That's not a bad thing because those games are really good. It's just not breaking a lot of new ground so far. But it's very personality driven. It's got really good sprites, really good animation. So it's a cool game. If you're looking for one, and right now it's discounted down to $10, which for a way forward game is a pretty good price. Their games are quality. So I played that.
I'm waiting for the Wii U one to jump into that series just because the graphics and like the 2D versus 3D and just hand drawn art style kind of thing.
I mean, the only thing you're going to miss out on is if you're not playing on 3DS, you don't get the pop out visuals on the animated female characters. I'm going to leave it at that for your imagining. But just your choice, but to each their own. And then the game I really actually enjoyed a lot, was pleasantly surprised by. I downloaded Angry Video Game Nerd Adventures, and I liked it a lot. I was thinking it might just be a little bit gimmicky, based on his character, his persona. But it turns out it's a pretty good platforming game. It's hard. It kind of mixes up elements, a little bit of like Cave Story with like a standard platformer. Cave Story only in the sense that like you kind of got a blaster and you have like, you can just like turbo blast everything. You can't fly with your blaster, unfortunately, like Cave Story, but it reminds me of that a little bit. It's really tough as nails, difficulty, rather than being a bad game. The trick is I was imagining them trying to make a game, since Angry Video Game Nerd's deal is that, he picks on crappy games. It would have been dumb of them to make a crappy game, so they didn't do that. They made a reasonably good game, but they made it really hard, like classic NES style. Not unfair most of the time, but like really hard, where you really have to use your head. You have to be wide awake on a cup of coffee or two, if you're me, and like focusing, really in on it, like, cause you can usually figure out how to jump through a section or dodge some enemies and jump through, or, there'll be a speed run section where you really have to be on your toes and like blasting, jumping all at the same time. But, it's fair, but it's difficult. There's no getting around that. And it's kind of Mega Man style laid out, where there's a lot of different levels. When the game turns on, you just pick your poison, go whichever way you want. It's got some upgrades. You're rescuing the AVGN cast and crew, the guitar guy, Mike Matei, or however you say his name. They're trapped in some of the levels, and then you get them kind of like upgrades. So you have like, different characters you can play as with different kind of attributes. And, I'm liking it. If you're a fan of the nerd, it's not a bad game. If what I've said turns you on, if you don't like, it's got an easy mode. I haven't tried that. I think that would take away from the game a little bit. Honestly, it's supposed to be difficult. But I'm thinking it's pretty cool. And I think it's around $10 right now with the sale for Black Friday. So it's worth checking out if you're interested in that kind of thing.
Yeah, I was looking up the gameplay because I saw you wrote an article about it before, and you're saying like, oh, he has like the quips of the AVGN as he does in the show, and I saw a couple while you were talking about it, and I had to hold back my laughter from just how ridiculous some of them are.
Yeah, he doesn't do voice acting in it very much. There's a couple situations where there's a little bit of voice acting, but mostly, especially since it's a small downloadable game, it's not full of voice files. It's mostly in text boxes.
Yeah.
Like when you die, it always spams, like it seems random, like something from a huge library of different things that he's prone to saying, and if you've ever watched a nerd video, imagine the expletives that fly out of his mouth. The game is rated, F. It literally, you turn the game on, and I'm going to go ahead and swear here, you can beat me. I don't know what kind of family show this is here, but
We've had Flia on. I don't think it's a family show anymore.
True. Yeah, you turn the game on, it says rated F for fuckballs.
Yeah, that's awesome.
You turn this when the game powers on, and that sets the tone. You're ready to go right from there. The game does not hold back. It's him clearly having entered all these catchphrases and all these crazy ways to insult the game itself as you're playing it. It's always the nerd like cursing out the game itself. It's like, this game sucks, donkey dick, jizz flying all over my face kind of crap. Whatever. You're just like, you don't even know after a while. It's just, you're getting hit with it so often because you're dying all the time and you're just seeing it fly across the screen the whole time. It's pretty funny. So if that turns you on, and if not, then you should probably play a different game. So.
And it's a cool homage to some of the older games past, like Castlevania and Mega Man, and they make fun of the Silver Surfer because there's a flying section.
Yeah.
Things like that. So
yeah,
especially if you're a fan of the show, it seems like it's for you. But it also looks like a decent game on its own, even if you don't have the jokes.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, but if you picked this up and you were like 8 and you didn't know what a balls was, you'd be in trouble. So, it's rather ribald, but I recommend it if that's your taste. I think it's really fun. Like you said, it's got a lot of homage to a lot of classic games that are really funny and kind of in-jokey like that, especially if you've played a lot of Nintendo throughout your life. You'll be catching like little references and little vibes from different games. It's not strictly one game or another that he's parodying. It's kind of like just this huge mishmash of like ideas, like in a kind of cool send-up, kind of way. So it's neat.
Cool. So I guess we'll move on to some other stuff. I don't think there was much of Amiibo news, or at least not that I remember because I didn't write anything down. But as far as couple of announcements, Konami Crazy Racers is going to be on the Wii Virtual Console, and I thought I'd single this out versus some other ones because I remember playing it on the Game Boy Advance, and it's just this weird like version of Super Mario Kart where you have these just characters that don't make sense to belong to each other, just that other than like Konami once owned them, like Goemon and Gray Fox from Metal Gear Solid, and an Easter Island head, and like some squid in the PlayStation, like baseball chibi anime guy. Like, it's just so weird. Like, just check it out. At least look up some gameplay of it. But Retro City Rampage, the sequel to that, Shakedown Highway or Hawaii, is coming to the 3DS, so that's neat. Twilight Princess HD at one point said it supported the Wii Remote and Nunchuck, and then that was pulled along with the gamepad support on either the website or something to do with that. So maybe it's something that's supposed to be a surprise, I guess. I don't really know. I wouldn't be surprised if they added it in as like a separate mode, like, play with the gamepad or play with the Wii Remote and Nunchuck kind of thing.
I'm not playing with a remote and Nunchuck. I pre-ordered that crap. I want to play it on my gamepad.
Well, you'll definitely play it with a gamepad, but I'm guessing they might have like a Wii Remote mode as well. I don't know. Everyone craps on it, but I played it back when I got the Wii, and I thought it was fine, especially for a lot of the pointer aspects of it, like with the double claw shot and some of the other things. Like, there's a lot of pointer-related items that I think benefit with the Wii Remote.
That's interesting. Me, I was the biggest fanboy for the Wii. I played everything on that system, but I have wrist problems now, carpal tunnel type stuff. So I'm like, no more pointing, no more pointing. So, interesting.
I'm gonna blame Skyward Sword's water section for that, because you have to twist your hand in ways that are not humanly.
Brother, all you have to do is talk about GoldenEye 007 on Wii, and that's all the blame there needs to be. Like 300 hours later, your wrist starts to break. Yeah.
Speaking of Black Friday, at Target.com, the Wii U was the top-selling item. I'm not sure if that was the top-selling item above everything else or just gaming, but they just put top-selling items. So
I think it was the top-selling electronic item, but that was...
Cause, yeah, it wasn't really specified the way they worded it, but...
Yeah, but that was just Target.com on Thanksgiving. Not even Black Friday, it's Thanksgiving Day, and that's one day. There was another analysis, I don't know if you have it, but it analyzed like 600,000 receipts or something on Black Friday. I don't know if you have that one too, but that talked about Nintendo's position as well.
So it sounds like they did at least decently well.
They did okay on Target. I think the overall, when they analyzed the 600,000 receipts, it was PS4 was number 1, Xbox was number 2, and Wii U was number 3. But we don't know what percentage each one took up.
Yeah. Well, at least they sold better than usual, it sounds.
I mean, can we talk about this? Like,
I don't know, what is there to talk about? We already know the system's dead.
Like my wife.
I'm angry.
What,
I'm
me,
angry.
Unoclay, where I said, what's there to talk about?
Surprise, surprise! I'm angry. Well, I'm not angry. I just think that Nintendo made a bad decision by bundling in games as opposed to just lowering the price. I feel like $199 would have been a magical price point.
Yeah.
I mean, they were selling the game with Splatoon and Smash for $250. They could have just thrown Splatoon out of the package or Smash, whichever one, and sold it with a game for $199, and I think it would have doubled sale. Well, not doubled. I think it would have
cut it down to $250 and kept both games in, and then at least for Black Friday, and then they would have sold like a lot more.
Well, depending on the store, you could find $250. I think they should just cut it down to $199 because I feel like people that aren't educated consumers, which I'm sorry, 90% of Americans are going to, or a parent is going to walk in, and I don't think they're going to care if it's $250 with 2 games or $199 with 1 game, but that $199 is just a magical number, compared to the $300 or whatever they see with the Xbox One or PS4.
Yeah.
Although I saw Xbox One for $280 with a game, so yeah, I don't think whatever. It might just be speculation.
Yeah. So you brought up something before with Nintendo not really advertising, Pokemon Super Mystery Dungeon, and the other game they didn't really advertise much was Xenoblade Chronicles X. So their excuse, reason, is that their audience already knows it exists, which means you're not going to get any more sales than the people who already know, which is stupid. I'm guessing they're not really advertising it because they think it's a wasted effort at this point, just due to the low install base and whatnot, so they don't think the money is worth it. But that doesn't stop them from advertising other games. They've advertised stupid Amiibo Festival. I mean, obviously that's to sell Amiibo, which are hot, but still, it's like you put in, I don't know how many millions into this giant RPG, and you're just gonna poop it out there and not, advertise to some extent? At least web ads or something. It's not a small game. You put in so much money in this, and you're just gonna let it poop.
Yeah, I can't speak to that. I'm always on the outside of how much advertising is happening. I don't watch a heck of a lot of television or anything with ads in it, so I'm never quite sure if that's
I don't even have TV, but I'll see ads on YouTube or just web ads and stuff like that. Yeah, so that's kind of where I'm gauging my.
I feel like I don't know. I did see a lot of. I think I was. I posted that story on Nintendo Enthusiasts. Got a bunch of interest, and most of the people were saying, "Well, this was a stupid decision, getting mad at Nintendo." However, I don't necessarily think it's a bad decision. I don't think there would be a return on investment because they literally can spend no money on advertising for Xenoblade and still sell 100,000 units or whatever they're going to sell.
Yeah,
and I don't. What?
Oh no, I'm just agreeing. That's a fair point because.
And I don't know if spending another $1 million on marketing is going to be worthwhile in making more sales. With such a small install base, Xenoblade is not going to appeal to the 10-year-old kid. They have Mario Kart commercials or Splatoon commercials because they're trying to appeal to that 8-year-old kid or parent buying for their kid. And I don't think that Xenoblade has the same sort of appeal. And most of the gamers that are buying their own games, no offense, are on PS4 and Xbox One. So, in those that do buy their own games on Nintendo are really into Nintendo.
Yeah.
So I think it was a good decision. They could have spent whatever money they spent on it on their holiday commercials, which they did. I don't know if you guys saw their holiday commercials, but they were pretty good this year anyway.
I saw one where I think it's just for 3DS, I think, where they have Triforce Heroes and maybe it was Wii U as well. I forget. They showed off like 3 games.
Yeah.
And that was it.
I thought it was pretty good commercial. It just reminded me of when I was like a little kid or not even a little kid, like 10 or 12 years old, and I would see those commercials and just get really excited about Nintendo stuff.
Yeah.
I think their commercials are this year anyway are solid. So I just don't think it was necessary to put Xenoblade ads up.
Yeah, that's fair, because would putting any money into it be worth it or not? It's a hard thing to judge by. I don't know, it's just kind of sad to see, like, you put in so much money, make this giant game, and then no one's gonna really know about it.
I don't know.
I would say even some Nintendo fans themselves forgot, like, Xenoblade is coming out. It's like, oh, what do we have this Christmas? Like, Yoshi's Woolly World and Mario Maker and whatever, and it's like, oh yeah, there's Xenoblade, I forgot about that.
I think the biggest mistake isn't that Xenoblade it didn't get millions of marketing dollars. I think the biggest mistake is that it wasn't out before Black Friday. I think that's the number one thing. It came out in December. That's already a little late. It should have released earlier. And the game was ready. It's not like it wasn't done. We've had the game for 3 or 4 weeks now. So
I'm going to channel Flia, who I sit in his seat on this podcast in some ways. And I'm going to channel Flia and say, Eli, it will not matter. Xenoblade will sell 5 million copies, period.
Well, I mean, there's
with love, Flia, with love for you, brother, with love,
period.
There's some reason to that. I mean, looking historically, just look at Xenoblade 1 sales. It came out, literally no marketing. It was a GameStop exclusive, for heaven's sake, and I think it sold pretty well. So, I just don't, like, Xenoblade had literally no marketing, and it sold okay, so I think that Xenoblade Chronicles X, with actual Nintendo Direct footage and internet excitement, could do at least as well.
It's weird because they advertised the 3D version on the 3DS when the new 3DS came out. It's like, here's a remake, where's the new one? I don't know. We're not going to tell you.
That's funny. That's true, though. It's funny, but true.
Yeah. But moving along, the Game Awards is happening this week on December 3rd, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And maybe not everyone's interested in watching it, but like last year, Reggie is on the advisory panel again. And just a couple hours ago, Jeff Keighley said Nintendo's going to have new content to show. Doesn't necessarily mean new games, it's just something new we haven't seen before. And I think they're like 99% likely going to show Zelda trailer again. Because that was, I think, easily the biggest thing that happened last year that people were talking about. So showing like a full-fledged trailer to get people hyped for next year is, I think, likely.
Yeah, I feel like the little 10-second teaser that we got in Nintendo Direct was exactly that, a teaser for the Video Game Awards.
Yeah. Because if they didn't have anything for the awards, it would make no sense. It's like, here's 3 seconds. But they also hinted that they're going to have like a tribute to Satoru Iwata, which will be kind of nice. And I'm not sure, they might show some other stuff, like maybe they'll tease the next character that's going to show up in the Smash Direct, because the Smash Direct is supposed to come out this December. We don't know when, but maybe they'll kind of tease that, or just give us a date for it or something. I don't know. They definitely get a lot of people's attention. That's for sure. So next, the Level 5 is open to bringing Yokai Watch and other games to the NX or even Wii U if the audience is there, which basically means it's not coming to Wii U because the audience isn't there. But Eli, I know you've played a lot of Level 5 games. Have they really done many console games? Because most of the time I think they're handheld, right?
I mean, not Yokai Watch.
Ni no Kuni was
Ni
one.
no Kuni
Yeah.
was a console game.
Whoa. It was a remake of a DS game.
Well, no. It wasn't a remake. They both came out together in Japan, on PS3 and 3D and DS. Only the PS3 version made it over to North America.
Yeah.
So it wasn't necessarily a remake. It was just the other multi-platform console, whatever game it came out on. Other than that, I mean, I can't really think of many console games Level 5 has been involved in. They've had a large handheld presence. Obviously with Fantasy Life, with Layton, with with Yokai Watch. So, yeah, I'm not. This would definitely be probably new for them, especially if they went on a Nintendo system. I don't think they put almost anything on the Wii or Wii U. Let me look it up really quick.
Yeah, I'm looking up their games list, and it looks like the last big console game they released was White Knight Chronicles 2 in 2010.
That's PS3 though, isn't it?
Yeah, it is, but I'm just talking like console games they've done in general. But yeah, it looks like the last big game they did was 2010, unless Ni no Kuni was earlier.
Now, they did put out Yokai Watch Just Dance in Japan. Actually, it hasn't even come out yet. It's a hotly anticipated title, December 5th. So look forward to that.
Yeah. Doesn't it have like 5 songs?
I don't know.
I heard that it had like an incredibly small list of songs.
I mean, looking forward, they've got the Snack World scheduled for 3DS. They've got Yokai Watch 3 for 3DS and Fantasy Life 2, which is scheduled for iOS and Android, but hopefully will make its way over to 3DS as well. So, yeah, I don't really know. I think that they're saying that just to say that. I don't think they actually have any concrete plans to bring anything to console.
Yeah, I know. I think it was just a journalist asking, like, oh, would you be willing to do this? And they're just saying, like, yeah, maybe at some point, possibly. But, I mean, it's not a definite no, so, I mean, there's potential there. I don't even know. That'd be interesting to see them do another console game for something. But it looks like... Oh, no, this isn't confirmed, but one question I thought I'd pose is, will Nintendo have an on-stage E3 conference when they debut the NX?
God, I hope so.
So, we know Kimishima, the current president, isn't really an upfront kind of guy, so he's not likely to be in it at all.
He doesn't have to be. I mean,
no.
Go to the Xbox presentation. Literally, Phil Spencer is like the only one, like really, really into it, and he can have a translator. So as long as his translator is energetic, you know.
But I'm wondering. So if they do a live conference, is it going to be Reggie just to show it off because he's the only other, like, I guess notable president with a face, or are they going to do Nintendo Direct and have Bill show it off because Bill's more of the face of Nintendo Directs now?
Yeah, probably Reggie. I mean, I don't know. What do you guys think? I definitely think Reggie would be the more public face. That's what, and I think before they started doing Nintendo Directs, Reggie was the public face at all the press conferences, really.
Yeah. Anyone else have any thoughts on that?
I don't have any tea leaves on this one. I have no opinion. Too far away for me to guess on anything personally.
I hope they do show up. I don't know. It'd be so weird to be like, here's Nintendo Direct, and we're going to show off our new thing, and it's, I don't know. It just isn't the same with like a console launch.
I personally don't know. Are we talking about E3, correct?
Yeah.
Is that what you're talking about? Yeah, I personally don't know that we will see it at E3. I'm a cynic and I'm always a skeptic.
Well, they did say they were going to talk about it for sure at E3, so I think it's kind of hard that they're not going to show it off. Because I think
about it is one thing, but I mean, like, show anything. I think every year this goes around, and every year I'm the guy that's saying, "Hey, everyone, let's not get our hopes too up. There's not going to be a new Metroid, and if it is, it's going to be a game where you hit a ball around inside a soccer field or something like that."
But I mean, when they show off a console, like, it doesn't mean it's coming out. Here's the thing:
Yeah.
when they talk about a console, they show it off, and it doesn't mean it's coming out that year because they usually have 2 years. One where they talk about it and show it off, and then have like a little demo reel of games and whatnot, and then the next year is when they bring it back and they're like, okay, here's the actual launch list of games, kind of thing.
Right.
So I
Yeah,
think
we'll
if they
see.
bring it up, like they're gonna show it at least.
We'll see. I would like to see it, but I'm also maybe a little bit biased here because I love my Wii U so much that I'm in that smaller pocket of people that's like, I don't really want it to go away. I know they need sales, but like, what are we doing here, guys? Like, I spent a lot of money on this system, that kind of feeling.
I mean,
So,
I don't know. For me, it's like one of those things, and I've talked about this before, where if they were to introduce a new console next year and it came out next year, I personally, someone who bought the console at launch would not feel burned. There were tons of great games on the Wii U. I played a ton of great exclusives that I wouldn't be able to play had I not bought the Wii U. For me, I do not regret that purchase. Like, sure, the Wii U cost me $300, but I also played 30 games, the retail games on it, plus more indie games. Like, I don't feel burned, and honestly, the amount of people that are going to be burned enough not to get the NX, I feel like is going to be small.
yeah, it's not as much feeling burned for me. It's more like I genuinely like it. It's almost like I sort of wish things were different. I guess that's a pointless wish at this point. Like I know they need sales.
Yeah, but the company's got to make money.
It's one of those things where it's like not. I'm in the luxury position of not caring about the money specifically. When I say, oh, I spent all this money on it, it's not even really my primary concern. It's more like, I don't know.
Yeah, you like playing around with the gamepad and you don't want it to leave, basically.
Yeah, I don't want it to leave. I think that there are a lot of cool ideas that have been unearthed for it. It took them forever, but Mario Maker is the best example, Splatoon, etc., yada yada. We could go on. There's good examples of gamepad games, and the system isn't selling well enough to justify it. Perhaps there's also the doubt in my head that's a little worried. That's like, but is moving on to a new system going to fix anything? You know what I mean? Like, or is it going to be the exact same thing all over again with the same install base without really changing the landscape for Nintendo, which it very well could be. And then, like, for me, I kind of end up feeling like, well, then why even bother moving on for now? Like, why don't we just keep working with the thing we got and personally save me, another $300? But hey, whatever.
Nintendo's got to give it a good college try, but I think, I think they're not going to. I don't believe in the NX as of this moment, hearing nothing about it. I don't think it's going to make a comeback for them. Because Nintendo will never take the steps necessary to ensure that it's a successful console. They're not going to third-party support. They're never real. They're going to be like, we have third-party support. We swear this time. And 3 months after launch, there will be no third-party support. It's going to be...
What's it called? Battered wife syndrome?
They're going
expect things to change, but it doesn't.
Yeah. I mean, the price is going to be too high. The name, who knows whether it'll be an okay name or not. How are they going to get people from Xbox and PlayStation to come over?
Yeah,
the achievements aren't going to be there. I would be surprised if there's chat. If there is, then great. But, like, all these things, they're going to make the same mistakes again. And I can't expect it to sell well. I don't have faith in a console that's coming out mid-generation to have the success. There is a way they could, I feel like, make the console successful, but they're not going to take the steps necessary to do that.
Yeah, they definitely have some challenges coming in halfway through. When they're honestly, they're not even up to par, and they have to be more than that to be able to compete. Personally, I'm fine with it coming out next year, like sooner, because that means the more time. Like, I won't be able to get to it, so the more time it's out, the more games are being worked on for it, and the cheaper it'll get. And honestly, I still have, like, a bunch of Wii U games I want to play anyway, so I'll just be playing those while everything gets cheaper and more good stuff comes out. So I don't have to be like, oh, I'm at launch and I'm waiting for things that I want to come out. Kind of like PS4. It's like, oh, yeah, I want a PS4, but I can't invest in it now. And by the time I will, like 2 years or so, or more in, it's like all these awesome games are there, and there's going to be bundles and stuff. So, yeah, that's just my perspectives about being a cheap guy.
Up next on the depressing Nintendo podcast, what do we got, Matt?
Murdered puppies.
Oh, no way! I'm not in.
In recent reports, Nintendo has been found to have killed 3,500 puppies.
I thought you were gonna spout up like a real report. I was like, oh geez, he actually has something. That's horrible.
What else we got for news? I got to move on. This is killing me here. I'm thinking about my
that's-
GameCube in the closet. I'm thinking about my Wii down there in the closet. I'm thinking about my Wii U going in that same closet. I can't see.
Well, you have the gamepad, so you can play with it even if it is in the closet.
It's going to be sitting next to my Virtual Boy collecting dust.
Oh gosh, no, that's pretty much it for this week. Yeah, I don't know. I can't really trust Nintendo with new. I can't really trust Nintendo anymore with new innovations because, like with the Wii and the Wii U, they've shown that they can come up with cool concepts for technology, but they don't really know how to support it well. So even if the NX has like this crazy new thing, they'll probably be stupid and get all hyped up because it'll be interesting. It's like I can't trust them to make games that support it. I mean, when Iwata came out like a year and a half or 2 years out, saying we're gonna make games that actually use the gamepad, it's like, wow, that's horrible. So you basically poop this thing out, hoping, like, not even realizing you were gonna use it. Just like, whatever, just toss it in there. Like,
No, see, I think that's a little unfair. I think it
it showed that they had no real idea what they were gonna do with it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I have to say, I don't think that level of like, how to say, cynicism is entirely warranted because I mean I know you've had fun with your Wii U.
Oh yeah, for sure.
It hasn't been a PS4 level like delivery service of other third party games. That's the main thing. I mean, like, what else are we complaining about? I really want to know. Like, I stop for a second. We all know Nintendo makes games at a slower pace than every other developer, but that's because they're in the very unique position of being both the dev and the hardware producer. So yeah, games come out slower than we wish. That's acknowledged. That's been the case since the beginning.
Yeah. No,
but
my problem was just that they're saying, oh, like the gamepad is our cool new thing, and we're gonna use it for all these games and make a reason for you to buy it because it uses unique hardware, and then they don't support that hardware.
Well,
it's like,
right,
then
but
you
it was
just,
also
it just seemed like you sacrificed so many more things for this hardware.
But it was also time for a new system, and it's the first HD Nintendo. Like, let's not forget, with that gamepad, which may have been underutilized, even if I grant that, which it was. I mean, fair enough. I wish there were more games that use the gamepad, but there, pretty many use it, but not as well as they could. I totally agree with that. But I mean, it is an HD Nintendo. Me, as a guy who'd never owned an HD system before that, I was completely like, sold. And that makes me biased on one hand, but at the same time, I'm a satisfied customer. I'm like, you know what? Even if Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze doesn't use the gamepad, which is stupid that it turns black and goes off, and it was probably related to development times or whatever for that particular game. You know what? That game is awesome. It's HD Donkey Kong Country, and I'm in, as far as that goes. Is it perfect? No, maybe I'm being an apologist, and I grant that, at the same time, like, maybe the cynicism hasn't hit me because, like, maybe for NX, I'm like, well, what are you going to do? Make it more HD? Because some people have hinted that they think it's going to be a less powerful system, which is actually, for me, more concerning than not supporting like some strange, I don't know, new hardware development, like the gamepad or whatever. I could care less sort of in a way about that. But if the system starts rolling backwards in terms of power against the other ones, maybe I'm more concerned about that because I'm psyched and Nintendo's finally starting to play on a closer playing field where the games look really good and can run and you can have parity where you can get some of the third party games at least on a Nintendo system. I don't know. My 2 cents.
Cool. So I think we'll. I don't have any other comments because I already said what I needed to. So
I know. I agree. I like how you go. Cool.
like I think the games on it are awesome. It was just I wasn't really seeing eye to eye on their business decisions. That's all.
I just went off on my Andy Rooney rant. In my day, we loved Wii U. It was amazing.
Awesome. So I think we'll wrap it up there for today. You can find me at the Mango Viking on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. Eli, where can people find you?
You can find me on Twitter at Paul Salon. You can find me NintendoEnthusiast.com, where I write reviews and stuff and news. And that's about it.
Cool. Mike, wake up. Where can we find you?
You guys can find me at Troy Fullbuster on Twitter and Twitch, or Gaming Night Live, SME Gaming 64 on YouTube. Well, you know, we got stuff coming. That's all I can say.
And Unoclay, where can people find you?
Unoclay1 on that's UNOCLAY 1 on my IGN. Still keeping the forum alive, barely hanging in there.
Do it. So wherever you're listening, you can find us at Just Another Castle on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, iTunes, Podomatic, and IGN. You can drop us a question to read on there or at justanothercastle@gmail.com. And if you want to be a guest, you can message me on Twitter at the Mango Viking. So see you next time, and leave gaming to Nintendo.
Anyone else staring at a sweet ass Falco amiibo in front of them?
Yes.
I'm staring at my sweet ass.
Weird.
We got a mirror right here so I can look at it at all times.
Nice.